This is Connections Over Coffee. It's a networking group where there's no pressure. I usually come with some hot topics and we have a great chat. And the whole point is to get to know each other better and build relationships. And I know some of you personally and some of you I don't. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to go around and I want everybody to just say where they are coming to us from. Now there's 8 of us on. Who am I missing? Nope. Oh, I got everybody up here. Okay. I just want to make sure I can see everybody. So tell us where you are coming to us from and maybe just briefly what it is that you do, a sentence or two, and then that way we can get all the way around. And then we're going to have a chat on some hot topics today. I'm going to start with Carmela and I'm going to make her my co-host. She is actually the co-host of this call. And then Ruth Pierce, and Ruth isn't on yet. And so we've got Bree. We're going to let Bree in there. Make sure you can hear us, Bree. So I'm going to turn it over to Carmela and tell us where you're coming to us from and what it is that you do, Carmela.
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday on this. Well, it's sunny, but it's cold here in my part of the woods. I'm coming to you from Northwest Ohio in Lima, Ohio. And right now, I'm wearing my office administrative hat, working in the law office for my husband. He's got an all-day trial today that's been crazy. So I'm in the office, but I am a wellness advocate for doTERRA essential oils, and I also am an event planner and everything else you can think of.
Yes, Carmela wears all the hats. She is very active in her church. All the girls there call her mom. Am I right?
They do. I just told someone, I go, I only have one son. And I talked to him the other day. He goes, I feel special. And I go, you are. I don't have any adoptive sons. I just have you. So.
But you've got all the girls. They all flock to you
do.
for advice. Yes, I get it. Yes. So I certainly understand that. So welcome, Carmela. And she is my co-host again. I don't see Ruth on the call today. I'm scanning through our attendees to make sure I didn't miss her. Oh, we've got Debbie over there. Make sure Debbie can chat with us. Debbie, do you want to, again, we still have some folks coming in. Debbie, do you want to come up as a panelist? That way you can show your face. Anybody that wants to rejoin, it's just a button that I can send out to you if you want to rejoin where you can show your video, you show your camera. So let me know if anybody wants to rejoin that way. Several have declined, so I get that. I'm Kathy Binner. I am in Canal Winchester, Ohio, right outside of Columbus, and I run an international academy, and I do a bed and breakfast in my home, and I am a real estate investor, and I have 28 rental doors. So that's what I do. And so my life is busy because I kind of make it that way. I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to busyness. And that's one of our hot topics today on my paper here is balancing wellness and ambition. That's one of the hot topics. So I always struggle with that one. Anyway, that's who I am. We're going to go over to Sally. And Sally, tell us again who you are and what it is that you do and where you're coming to us from.
Hi, I'm Sally Sutter, and I'm the owner of Mermaid Travel. It's a full-service travel agency, but I do specialize in group trips for seniors, like baby boomers. And also I help with accessible travel too. And I'm located in the Canal Winchester area, about a mile and a half or two from Kathy.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I used to live in the same complex that Sally is in now. I used to live there before I bought my house. So we would have been neighbors. Anyway, yeah, but she's close. So I love that. So Sally, welcome. And we can never have too many. I'm going to actually make you a co-host as well. So just in case, sometimes the Wi-Fi gets a little spotty, and if I should get bumped off, there's a couple of you that hopefully you like me well enough to let me back in. Anyway, so we're going to go on around. Megan, how about you? Tell us where you're coming to us from.
Hi, I'm in Oklahoma, in a tiny, tiny, tiny little town in Oklahoma. So
okay, and what is it you do?
So I'm a money relationship coach. So I work with people on their actual finances, but really on their behavior and patterns and history with money. All of us have our very unique experiences, and with money. So I work with you on that.
Okay, I get it. Yes. Boy, oh boy, your coaching is certainly needed. I run into a lot of folks and they want to have passive income and they have no idea even where to start. So yes. So thank you for all that you do. Debbie, how about you?
Yes, my name is Debbie Marks, and I own Debbie Marks Organic Homesteading. That is my blog page. I'm also a owner, or what was that word again? An advocate for wellness.
Okay.
And I also have Fireside Chat with Debbie Marks the second Friday of every month. So in November, I think it's the 9th.
I can tell you, I've got my calendar.
It's the 9th? Okay. Yep, Camilla said yes.
Okay. Oh, her calendar must be easier to get to. Yeah.
Well, actually, she just became a member of Fireside Chat
Oh,
this morning.
now you
Thank
say it's
you.
now you say it's the second Friday,
Yes.
That's the 8th,
the
Debbie.
8th.
Oh, 8th.
Yeah,
Eight.
it'll be the
Oh,
8th.
I couldn't count the fingers. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
right.
So anyways, yes.
Yeah, mark your calendars. Debbie is on Meetup and you can go to meetup.com. You can find Fireside Chat with Debbie Marks and the link will be there to get into that call. And she has great guests every month. And I also have a speakers cabinet. So if any of you are doing podcast and you need a speaker, you can go to kathybenner.com and scroll down the more button to the speakers to find some folks to interview on your podcast. So, and I know Debbie's over there a time or two.
Yeah. This past meetup, I actually toured the Fairfield County Fair with my
Yeah.
guests.
I
was
actually
kinda
went in
fun.
on YouTube and listened to it a second time. It's really good.
It is.
And everyone put
And
their link in the-
Megan, I'm curious as to where do you live in Oklahoma?
So I live in a little town. It's called Hobart. I'm about an hour from Tulsa.
Okay.
So yeah, we have like in our town, we have a Dollar General, a post office, a gas station, and a Subway. So
Important places.
yes, of
I
course.
love, hey, everything you need right there.
I have a sister who lives in Enid.
Enid. Oh
And
yeah.
then my nephew and his family, they live in Midtown outside of Oklahoma City.
Yep.
So I
Yeah,
was just kind of curious.
Yeah.
And that's about that's it. Next.
I love it. I love it. Now we've already chatted with Carmela and Sally and Megan and Debbie. For those of you that we've already chatted with, put your contact information over in the chat. Make sure you click it to everyone. If you want to share your contact information, if you want folks to get in touch with you. So, because it's all about building relationships and helping each other out. So, and getting to know each other better. So if you feel that you want to connect with someone on the call, feel free to do that. Miranda, do you want to unmute and chat with us? Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Miranda, tell us where you're coming to us from and what it is that you do.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm coming to you from Chillicothe, Ohio.
Okay.
I am a graduate student. I'm currently an ABA therapist. If you guys know anything about ABA, I work
what does ABA stand for?
It stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. So I
Okay.
work with children with autism and who have challenging behaviors. And yes, so that's what I do right
Okay.
now. But I'm in school for clinical mental health counseling.
Okay. So you've got a little bit of a long road ahead of you, maybe, or are you
I have
almost
1 year left.
Okay.
And then I'll be graduated.
Well, welcome. We're glad that you joined us today. You're not terribly far away.
Nope.
So, yep, I love that area. We were just talking, Sally and I were talking before the call started. The trees were beautiful the last 2 weekends down in your neck of the woods. We're
Thank
losing
you.
leaves now.
Yes.
So welcome, Miranda.
Thank you.
Mike, how about you? Can you unmute and tell
Yeah,
us
can you
your
hear
name
me?
and where you're coming to us from and what is it you do?
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
I'm in Atlanta, but I'm from New Orleans,
Okay.
and we do life insurance. So we're looking for a marketing person to do some marketing to generate leads for the life insurance agents.
Okay. Very good. So are you a district manager, or are you an agent plus a district manager? What's your position?
None of the above. I'm an
Oh,
investor in a life insurance agency.
oh, okay. So you own the agency.
Right, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I was insurance way back in a former life. Many, many moons ago. Carmela, do you remember when I sold insurance? Or no? That's been a lot of years ago.
Many, many years.
Yes, many, many years. I was like in my 20s and I'm not now.
We'll just leave it at that, right, Kathy?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was just yesterday. Yeah. Well, Mike, welcome. I'm glad that you're with us. So thank you for being here. All right, Sherry, can you hear us at all? Again, I don't know if Sherry's there or if it's her software program that signed her in. I have a feeling it's her software program. So we're going to jump over and see if Sherry unmutes. We're going to jump over to Tracy. Tracy, can you unmute? Can you hear us?
Hi, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Okay, hi. So I just found this group on Meetup. I am a locum or travel nurse practitioner,
Okay.
and I always am browsing Meetup because I am pretty alone and looking for
Well,
connections. Not in
I
like a
get it.
sad place, just in like I need some stimulation and like networking and figuring out kind of my path. So I currently am in West Virginia, so I'm actually not too far, I guess, from some of you. I'm originally from California, Los Angeles,
Okay.
and I've been traveling for the last year. And I'm kind of at a crossroad. I'm relatively new in my career, but I'm still figuring it out. So there's a lot of opportunity, but I'm not sure my direction. So I guess I wanted to connect and see what was out there as far as maybe recreating a path or potentially improving on the path that I'm currently on.
Well, thank you for being with us. I have some midterm rentals. I'm into real estate, so I have some midterm rentals, and I cater to the traveling nurses. And but I'm in the Columbus area, and you're in. Where are you in West Virginia currently?
I'm actually close to you because I really would love to go to Columbus. I'm in Charleston.
Okay.
So you are on my list of places to visit.
Okay.
And one of the bigger towns, I'm again from bigger towns. This is the smallest town that I've lived in. Besides, I guess, Maui, which was also very small, but different. So yes, I love, like, I'm sure you do furnish finders, as far as
Correct.
maybe real estate goes. That's what I use. And I am obsessed with that platform. It's been it's been a true blessing for me to find housing. But as far as me getting into the real estate market, I haven't yet figured that one out. So I would love to be the one that could provide housing for others. But right now I'm just a renter.
I totally understand. I was in your shoes until I was in my mid 40s before I started investing. I had to figure it out too. Yeah, it takes a minute to
Yeah,
figure all that out. Yeah.
takes a minute. So
And some cash.
yes,
Yeah.
that too.
That's the
That
hard
too.
part. Sometimes you know how to do it if you just had the cash.
Yeah.
So I get it. So welcome. I'm glad you're with us, Tracy. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yep, I love it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So today, again, this is Connections Over Coffee. And so we have some topics. Okay. So everybody put on your thinking caps, because here are our three topics today. The overarching topic is how to make an impact. How can we impact? And again, if you go back to the Meetup group or our Facebook group for Connections Over Coffee, you see where we are making an impact in the world. That's one of the overarching topics under the word rise. and it's how to reconnect, and then the I is in that is for impact. So the first topic, and I want to get right on with it. The first topic is balancing wellness and ambition. And that's one Carmela and I both struggle with. Because you have to have some downtime to take care of yourself, but there's always something to do. And I get so darned excited that when I first met Mark, and Carmela, I don't know if you remember that Carmela and I go way back. We know each other, and we're connected by her brother, and my niece are married. So Carmela and I are connected. But anyway, over the years, Carmela has known me, and I get so involved and so excited that about a project that when I met Mark, I told him that I didn't do really well in long-term relationships because I'm just a little bit of a workaholic, just a tiny bit. And now we've been together 26 years. So he wants to know if I've decided if I'm going to keep him or not. So I told him that I'd have to think about it. I'd let him know. So he's still on his toes. But anyway, I struggle with that. And so for me, I've tried all different kinds of ways to try to balance that. And for me, what works for me is to simply plug it in on a calendar, because I found that I run by my calendar. If it's on my calendar, it gets done. If I'm not on my if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't get done. And then I do all of my calendar stuff on Google Calendar so I can see it on my phone or on my computer. So I jokingly say all the time that this is me without a brain and this is me with a brain, because everything is on that Google Calendar. So once I put it on, and then I've tried different variations. Okay, I'm going to get because I'm a firm believer that health comes before wealth. And so I try to walk a 5K every day. Now you think 5K, that's 3 miles. Okay. So if you did 20 minutes after breakfast, 20 minutes after lunch, and 20 minutes after dinner, you'd walk a 5K. If you just walk 20 minutes after, 3 times a day, you've walked a 5K. So it's not something that's not doable. A lot of people think, oh, there's no way I could walk a 5K every day. It is very doable. So keep that in mind. And so I want to just go around and ask some folks on the call, what is your go-to and how do you balance the wellness and ambition? So Carmela, we're going to start with you.
Well, because of my doTERRA, there's certain little system that I follow. So, I'm taking my meds, everything has to be done in the morning. So if I don't start with that, then I'm a goner, forget me. But I have my calendar like you, Kathy, and my to-do list of everything that needs to get done. Now, I have had things pop up, on occasion, but I'm trying to balance everything. Real quick, it's so funny because last week I had my experience of speaking at church, and it was the sermon. Well, the guy
I saw that on Facebook. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh. I was like, I almost backed out. I don't know how many times, but I was introduced by my adoptive son. And the way he described me and introduced me, he said, she is always busy and on the go. There's always a project that she's like, and I'm going, oh my God, that is me. So I'm really trying to slow down and take time for me. I was literally busy yesterday, and it was mine and Farley's anniversary. And I'm like, honey, you weren't on the schedule. You weren't on my calendar. So
Mark says it about me. Mark says he has to get on my calendar if he wants to spend any time with me. I told him that I was spontaneous every Sunday between 2 and 4.
Right. So we got together yesterday, late afternoon, evening, and then it's like, he's busy, I'm busy. So he was preparing for it. I'm like, we'll connect sometime and celebrate. It's just a day. So, but, I try to make sure I have everything written down. Because if I don't, it's harder for me to kind of try to fit it in. Not that I don't try, but I've put myself, in a situation where it's like, I'm not going to add it. If it's not already there, I'm not adding it. And it's been
Well,
helping me
good for
a
you,
lot.
but it's kind of tough. I know. Yeah.
It's very hard, especially when you've had a habit of always squeezing things in. I'm learning the word no. You guys, most of you know I've struggled, especially you, Kathy. So now I'm like, I'm sorry. I do not have space on my calendar for that. So that's where I'm at.
I get it. I get it. But you know what? Everybody has this feeling about you because they know that you care and you always try to help. And so and again, you like me, you can be your own worst enemy sometimes, because sometimes you have to pull back and regroup before you can give anymore. So I certainly get it. But anyway, good job. And I find that if I take care of what I need to do first thing in the morning for me, then the rest of my day goes better. I have to put me first at the beginning of the day instead of at the end of the day, because I never quite get on the schedule if I put myself at the end of the day. So anyway, Sally, how about you? How do you balance? Because boy, when you've got a trip going, you're kind of on call. You're front and center.
I'm called 24/7.
I know. I
There's
know.
a trip going. And in fact, we just got back from the Virginia Beach trip that I took a group on. But I used to write things down. Like I wrote a weekly reminder of everything I had to do. And I'll be honest with you, that got kind of stressful to do that. So I use my Google Calendar all the time now, because you're right, you can access it from your phone or your computer. And I always like to put things like, so somebody's final payment is due at a specific time. So I have to put that in the calendar and look at it. But what keeps me going and ambitious and still taking time out for myself as I'm actually looking at it. My favorite thing to look at is a 24/36 magnetized map of the world. So I've
Okay.
got pinpoints every place I've been. I've got magnets. That's what I collect, is magnets. And doing what I do allows Ed and I to be able to take little trips and get away like once a month or so. And I also try to, and it's most of the time this works, just at 5 o'clock, I'm done. Even if I'm not done, because sometimes there's always carryover. And I get a lot of interruptions too. Out of the blue, people call, ask about a trip, things like that. So
I call it, in my world, I call it bonfires. I always have this little pile of bonfires on my desk that I have to put out. And about the time I get to the bottom of the bonfire list, there's like 5 more bonfires.
I know, yeah. And I hate to be focused on something and then have to get distracted by something else that needs to be taken care of right away. But yep, that's pretty much what I do. And it just because of, I don't want to cut off time, the amount of time I have to spend with Ed. Because
I
you
get
never
that.
know.
Now, again, something that works for me and that I'm sure that you work it into, and then Carmela, of course, works with Farley, and Sally, you and Ed can do some of these trips together. Mark and I, we try to turn a work day into a fun/work all in one. Like if we have to go flip a unit, he'll go with me and he'll help me and we'll get the unit flipped, and then we'll go hiking or
Yeah.
have a nice dinner somewhere and try to turn that work day into a fun time for us. Yeah,
Yep.
so that works as well. So, but it makes a big impact on your family and on your world, on how you handle the balancing wellness ambition. So Megan, how about you?
So I thought it was interesting because you said you focus on health before wealth, right? So something I like to say is being healthy wealthy. And that it totally encompasses that, where you're healthy in all aspects of life, which means you're wealthy in all aspects of life. They all go inside with each other. So I'm the same. I live by my calendar, but my husband, he works, he's gone for 2 weeks and then home for 2 weeks and gone and home. So when he's gone, I'm like full speed ahead. I go, so I'm working constantly. And but when he's home, I really back off some and I only schedule appointments on certain days. And so that's kind of how I balance is I take a lot more time off when he's home. And so we can have that time together. But when he's gone, I work full time. So it works out for me where it balances out. So I'm not going like constantly all the time. So that's kind of how I do it. I just choose my, I create my schedule so I can have that really important time. And yeah.
Well, good. And, I think we all find that rhythm in our daily lives. Mark, for those of you that know Mark, he loves airplanes. And so he has two. He just bought a third out in Minnesota. So now he's trying to plan his trip to go get this third airplane. Like he can only fly one at a time. Why does he need anyway? So he's wants to go get this third airplane. And it's that time I'm thinking, I'm already planning like you, Megan. I'm already thinking, okay, now while he's gone, what can I get done?
Exactly.
That's funny. I'm already planning ahead. And so if he changes his mind, I'm going to be disappointed. That's funny. Oh, no, I get it. I get it. Debbie, how about you?
So I get it about planning when they're not home because that was what it was like when Rick was working. Okay. There were times where he would be gone for a month and come home or only come home on Saturday and Sunday. And now it's, well, he's home all the time. So, so I have to, I'm gonna interrupt that train of thought and just say, last month I realized that my life has been too busy and that I missed two very important dates.
Oh,
And I go, okay, I'm not making room for a third. Not going to happen. So I've been trying to back off and just look at things. You have to. And with the growing season the way it was this year, believe it or not, last Thursday, I just did my last batch of tomatoes.
wow.
And that is not normal. Usually I'm done by the beginning of September. But that being said, I still have a tray of tomatoes sitting on my kitchen table that are green and they won't change. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But I realized I have to designate what part of the day I'm going to do what I need to do so that when nighttime comes, I can watch the old shows with Rick while he's still up. And the other thing, my husband in February of this year asked me to join the fantasy league for NASCAR. My family is crazy nuts with NASCAR. So I said, okay, I will. So, of course, during the summer, he records the race and we don't watch it till we sit down at night. And that's all good. But now it's where it's not so pleasant outside and there's nothing to do. And so I'll watch the race with him. And actually, my daughter in Charlotte is watching the race also, and my son is. And I just do what I feel is necessary. And believe it or not, after yesterday's race, I'm number one in our family league.
So you're having fun with this.
I am.
So good.
And I know it's funny to say that I'm doing that, but you know something? I'm sitting there with Rick. I'm enjoying our time together, and we do this because, yeah, I like it.
Well, good.
So
Good.
so it's it's when you find that all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, I missed that. I missed that. And I'm not making room for number 3 because that is not me. So
Well,
I
and it's good
am,
to know that about yourself.
it is.
Yeah.
And when you can learn a lesson from that and you go, okay. And so now that the fall's coming, you know, um, I have picked up reading a lot during the summer. So I've been, enjoying that. Except when you pick up a book at Goodwill, note to self, A, make sure the paper cover on the book is actually what the book is.
Ooh.
And that if you pick up the book and you absolutely love it and you go to Google it and you find out it's the 3rd book of the series, and it's like, you
And now
know,
you're thinking, did I read them out of order?
yeah, I don't want to know what happened before, how it started. But anyways, um, yeah, that's me. So now I've got Thanksgiving, and if you ladies didn't realize it, do you know there's only 3 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas? And it's like, oh, great. Okay, so that's me.
I get it. I get it. So good job, Debbie, that you're getting yourself on the list. Yeah. Miranda, how about you?
All right, so it's nice to know that we are all calendar people. We like to stick to our list. I think that that is a huge part of balancing time. Um, so do weekly is be just like very mindful of, like how I'm feeling each day. So I like kind of pause for at least like 5 minutes every day, do some breathing, um try to get into the mind of, okay, like we got this done for the day, let's move on. And then every night I like to read a chapter of a book. I think that that helps me. And then usually on Sundays I kind of like dedicate that to rejuvenating, so I might do something like spa related, even if that's just a face mask, or if that's, watching, your favorite TV show, or just anything like that. I find is very helpful to getting myself mentally ready for the next week and everything that needs to be done.
That's a good plan, is to just pick a day to kind of pamper yourself a little bit. Yes, I like that. Yes. Miranda, good. Good. Again, I don't think Sherry is behind her little Hollywood square there, I think. So Tracy, how about you?
Hi, everybody. Actually, Kathy, you inspired me to go on a walk while I was listening. So thank
Ah,
you. Um, it's interesting. I don't know. I know that I do all of the things to balance my health and my work, but I'm coming from like a different perspective, and I don't mean to sound sad. It's just that I don't have family nearby. I don't have a lot of obligations besides myself. So I sometimes find that I don't have anything to say no to. I'm like, I'm a yes person. So I'm waiting for people and things, which is why I look for meetup groups, because I find that this is the best way for me to connect, and to give me a little bit of that spark and that spunk in life. Because a lot of my times, I work a job right now that is going to be ending very soon, but it's behind a computer. I talk on the phone to a lot of patients. It's not necessarily super interactive. And then I go home and I live alone. So there's a lot of alone time. And so I was like, I'm not afraid to go do things for myself. I went to see a play yesterday. I went to yoga. Like, I do a lot of things that are very health and like actively inspired, but I am looking for the time when I can say no to something. I would love like an event to go to where I like know people, if that makes
mhm.
sense. So
Yep.
I do a lot of networking and a lot of things with Meetup that a lot of people are acquaintances. And it can be exhausting talking about the exact same thing everywhere I go. Everyone wants to know my story, which I have a very cool story, but it can be a little bit monotonous to keep explaining it, and getting past the beginning stages of a relationship is hard, especially in this world of social media and a lot of people on their phones or in their ear pods or AirPod things. I was just in New York recently and was on the train thinking, oh my God, I'm going to meet so many people, and no one looked up. So it's definitely an interesting experience. I am probably younger, but I'm in my late 30s. So it's definitely a transition period for me, being that a lot of my friends have families and are growing, and I'm kind of in a different stage of my life currently. So, but health and wellness are a super big part. I think that's a big thing of what I'm looking for in a job, is making sure I can have a balance and I'm not tied to any one place. I know that I'm here at work Monday through Friday right now, so I don't necessarily need a calendar. I know where I'm supposed to be from 9 to 5 every day. And then my, other times off are spent doing what you guys talk about, spa wellness things, or yoga, or spin class, or trying to find a meetup group.
Yeah, I get that. And Tracy, because you travel as a traveling nurse, my guess is that you don't stay long enough to really get in depth into relationships, and maybe you don't even want to, depending on what your life goals are. Maybe you don't even really want to get too involved. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
it's great to build some relationships. I like the fact that we're doing this virtual call, because on a virtual call like this, you can tap in no matter where you are. A lot of times we're the same
yeah.
group that's here every month. And so no
Yeah,
matter
I
where
think
you
that
go,
that's
you
good. Like,
can.
familiarity is a really big piece here. So I think that that's what I'm looking for. Eventually I will transition out of this. I do want to build roots, but my roots are in California, and California is way too expensive. So I have been trying really hard to find a home somewhere else, and this journey is still leading me back to California. So we'll go back there and see what happens.
I get it. I get it. So a whole different conversation, but when you kind of let life unfold on its own organically, you'll find your perfect spot.
Yes, I am trying to let the organic thing happen. I'm a control freak, so it's a little bit hard.
Oh, Tracy, thank you so much for sharing. I
Um,
really appreciate you being here today. And please mark your calendar and come back every month. Yes. And Ruth has joined us. Ruth is my other co-host, co-mod. Ruth, I'm going to click you through there and make you a co-host. And Ruth, we've already gone around, and so share who you are, where you're located, and where you're coming to us from, and what it is that you do. And I'm going to load you up here. And then our topic was balancing wellness with ambition.
Oh,
So over to you, Ruth.
I'm Ruth Pierce, and I live outside of Lawrence, Kansas. So I'm in some ways the oddball of this group of Ohioans. And yes, I did fly through Ohio not too long ago on our way back from New England, but we were ready to get home, so we didn't try to stop and see anyone. Wouldn't even stop and see my cousins, so you guys weren't the only ones. But then the balance of health and well, what did you say, Kathy?
Well,
What
first
question?
of all, what is it that you do? And then the
What-
topic is the balancing wellness and ambition. How
Okay,
you take care of health and wellness in relationship to what you're trying to accomplish.
and I do really enjoy helping people maximize relationships. And where I come from on that is we've been married for 49 years. We're going to celebrate 50 years next summer. And you learn a lot in that relationship, both good, bad, and indifferent, don't you? And yes, family too. isn't that interesting how they can play into our relationships? We learn a lot from them. And then I was an HR director, manager and HR director, and that taught me a lot. I thought I knew a lot about relationships till I took that position, and that was a whole new thing. But then what I'm going to say next goes into this, because after I retired, I learned a lot more because I had the space. I had the mental space to be able to comprehend even more. Now, right now, what I'm doing for my helping with relationships is we do online book clubs. And right now we're doing the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And yes, I read that book when it came out, or close to it, over 30 years ago. And I got a lot from that. And I still remember a lot. But I guarantee going through it this time and taking notes so that I can lead the discussion, I have taken it to a whole new level. So if that's something you want to do, we do it a couple Tuesday at noon Central, and it's online. So let me know if it's something you want to in there. It's actually, what's the name of my meetup group? Debbie and Kathy, you can help me out. It's the Lawrence Online Development Book Club.
Yes. And it's on Meetup. So for those
It's
of you
on
that
Meetup.
found this one on Meetup, if you go to Meetup, you'll find Ruth's organization there. Yes. And so Ruth, go ahead, and I'm going to look that up in the meantime, just to make sure we have it exactly right. And how do you balance your wellness with your ambition? Because Ruth is an author, and she has her group every month, and she has family time, and she travels, and she does all those things. How do you balance all of that?
Sometimes well and sometimes not. Is that a good answer?
That's a good
I-
answer. Yeah. That's the rest of us. Yeah.
I do find that taking care of my health is the most important. And that's the reason that, no, I haven't been on all the meetups with Kathy lately, because I've needed to rest. But it is important, and you make it a priority, and you take the time for what's important to you. And
So
yes,
how do you make it a priority? What do you do? Do you have a certain time of day that you make it a priority, or how do you do that?
I'm still working on that, Kathy. I mean, right now, because I've been recuperating, and then I had to recuperate from our trip. So just a heads up, I'm going to go back to that, and then Kathy, I'll answer your question. We started on this 2-week trip when I was 6 weeks post surgery. And yes, the doctors told us we were going by car and all this other stuff. But yes, that trip set me back. Physically, it set me back. And this is what I realized after the fact, is that I say it set me back 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
At least 2. And it's sort of like, I mean, we were naive enough. Since the doctors gave us permission, we thought, okay, I'm 6 weeks now. This trip's getting over at 8 weeks. I will have just done my recovery 2 more weeks. And that's not what happened. And so now, even though I'm 10 weeks post-surgery, I feel like I'm like a 6 or 7. And take that into people that you know. Just because somebody gets older doesn't make them more mature or wiser. Right? Somebody comes to mind to you right now, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And that's not something that we want for ourselves either. So don't think just because you're aging that you're becoming smarter or more mature.
Interesting.
And so,
That's
yes,
Mhm.
yeah, that's my nugget for today.
Very interesting, Ruth. This, I don't know if I can put it here. This is what her meetup looks like. It's a stack of books with a blue background on Meetup, and it's Lawrence Online Personal Development Book Club. She has 228 members, and she is currently doing the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So good job, Ruth.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
we've been growing every week as far as members in the group. Now, we do have a core group that come pretty consistently to our meetups, and others that just are in the fringes, of course. You don't have 222 people on that book club by any means.
Well,
you
it's
wouldn't
like every
you want that
organization.
many. Yeah, you
Yeah,
wouldn't
you,
want that many.
yeah.
'Cause you want to be able to interact.
Exactly.
So yes, I'm getting back into doing some exercise, but I'm also listening a lot to my body right now because that's what my doctor told me. I said, how will I know when I've done too much? And he says, you listen to your body. And so that's probably another key too. Now, once I get more in recovery, then I'm going to be like the rest of us and just have to make it be a priority because exercise is not something that I crave to do.
Right. That's
Eating
why,
healthy is easier for me.
yeah, that's why Mark and I, we like the walking and the hiking because it's something that we actually enjoy and we can just kind of add it into our day-to-day lives. I love the fact that I live in a little downtown area of Canal Winchester. And so I actually have the opportunity that I can walk to the coffee shop, I can walk to the post office. And so what it does is it gives me a destination instead of just saying, I need to go out and walk for 2 miles. That gets a little boring. But if I say, okay, I'm going to walk to the post office next, I end up walking 2 miles. So I like that I have that opportunity. Not everybody does, I used to live out in the country. I get it. So not everybody has that opportunity. I want to, and we've got about 10 minutes left. So I want you to put on your thinking caps for a minute. And what would be your one word of advice? I'm gonna let you think on it for a minute. And Carmela, I'm gonna start with you. So think about this. What would be your one word of advice to adapt to life's unexpected changes? When life throws you a curveball, what would be your one word, sentence, paragraph? What would be your advice to folks that get thrown a curveball? And it can be anything from the death of a spouse to the loss of a job to just something totally unexpected happens in your life. And so I'm going to let Carmela think about that for a moment. For me, my word of advice, if you have something totally unexpected that happens in your life, is to try to keep your day-to-day routine as normal as possible. Because when you finally come out the other side of whatever that is that has happened, you don't want your whole world to implode. You want to have some kind of normalcy at the other end. And sometimes it's tough because there's challenges, things that you have to do, depending on what it is that's happened. There could be some obligations, but trying to keep your routine, some kind of a grounding type routine, whether it's, your morning coffee or whatever your routine is, trying to keep that routine as normal as possible. So that's my word. So Carmela, how about you?
For me, it's breathing. I know it sounds weird, crazy, but if you can just step back and just take that nice deep breath, just to clear everything out. Sometimes you'll have people come in to say, but you need to focus on you, whatever your higher power is. For me, I breathe and I have a conversation with God where it's just I need that inner peace. And sometimes I find it listening to music or something, but I just breathe. I focus on my breathing where it just calms me and puts me in this frame of mind where okay, you can think, but I don't rush to do anything. And believe it or not, now that I've started doing that, it's been wonderful. I mean, I'm just like, I have to breathe, because it's something that we have to do
Mhm.
anyway. So just focus on that and just taking that time to take that deep breath in and then just exhale out.
Good advice. I like that one. Okay, there's two tips. Don't skip your morning coffee and take some deep breathing. And talk to your higher power. Yeah. Sally, how about you? Oh, you're on mute. Sally, you're on mute. There you
My
go.
blog is embrace the unexpected. I don't mean that you have to embrace all the bad that comes with it, that you have to, like Carmela said, I'm sorry, breathe and take a step back and look at the situation. When John was sick, I tried to keep the business going. I tried to keep that routine going as much as I could. I had a morning routine and an afternoon routine. Um, so I had the business still going when he passed away. So I had that. Um, I relied too much on it though, because I didn't grieve like I should have, because I was so focused on just getting through. But yeah, you just have to take a step back and just sometimes you're hit with something you think is awful, but if you analyze it, it's not so awful. There's ways around. We came home yesterday and our furnace wasn't working. So, my first call was to Mike, but he didn't answer.
Her
But
son, her son could have fixed her.
we got it done ourselves. We put the panel back on. This is the tip. We have a kind of funky where we have to change the filters. It's a little funky. We have to take the panel off, put it back on, put it on backwards so it didn't trip it's called a heartbeat. Let you know this furnace is going. So for the whole weekend while we were gone, the furnace wasn't working. So
Which again wasn't horribly bad because it wasn't cold
horribly
enough.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got it fixed. But I think the thing you don't need to do is just to go right away into panic mode, because that doesn't solve anything. It doesn't help anything. You just need to be able to analyze the situation.
Good point. Yeah. Debbie, how about you?
Well, I'm going to piggyback on what Sally said, and my word is faith. I told you that I had forgotten two things, and it wasn't devastating, but it was to me. But then I fell last week in the house, and I mean, really, I fell over backwards. I don't even know what happened. And the important thing is that God isn't going to give me anything I can't handle. Luckily, nothing broke. I hurt. I still hurt, but I didn't break anything. So, I've believed in this a long time. God isn't going to give me anything I cannot handle. And I believe that every day. So
your advice would be hang on to your faith.
yes.
No matter what life throws at you. Good point. Yeah, good point. Megan, how about you?
So I would say to be open to receiving. So whether it's like being open to receiving some support or love or guidance or advice, just being open and willing to receive and to not like shut off and shut people out when they, So yeah, so just be open to receive.
Yeah, and that's a good lesson because I have a can-do type attitude. And so sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I don't need you to help me. So yeah, I need to practice that, be a little more open to receiving that help. Yeah, good point. Yeah. Miranda, how about you? See if she can unmute there. Miranda, are you still with us? Being on a Monday, she may be multitasking. I don't know. Tracy, how about you?
Sorry, it might be very loud where I'm at. I had to come back into the hospital. But I wanted to hear everyone's answer, so I couldn't sign off yet. But I was trying to think, and I go through a change every 3 months, and I feel like I should be the one to know kind of how to best handle kind of when you're throwing a curveball. I mean, the funny joke for me is like, I need to just find a grocery store. Like that's literally like the one thing in my life that I always need to make sure I know where a grocery store is. But realistically, I think what has grounded me, I mean, is patience, which I do not have, but I think that as each week unfolds, you find familiarity and you do find routine, even though my routine is different wherever I go, depending on the job. So this job has been the most routine I've ever had. I've always been a night shift nurse. And so this is the most routine I've had. I have yet to come up with a game plan of a morning coffee situation. I'm still snoozing, which I don't recommend, but that's what I do. And I have not yet to get used to waking up in the morning because I was a night shift nurse for 10 years. But I think there is something for me, it's like making my bed in the morning. Like I love to come home to a made bed or something little that can give me Kathy, what you're saying, a sense of grounding. And I think just patience. And I think the days that are the best days are a sense of curiosity, embracing the unknown and the mystery and fun that comes from that.
Good points. Tracy, thank you. Thank you for that. Miranda said she can't put her mic on right now, but her word is present, focusing on the now and what is happening, being mindful of her environment. And her advice is to be aware of what is happening right now in the current moment and setting intentions. Yeah, that's great advice. And last but not least, before we sign off, we're going to go over to Ruth.
And mine is doing the groundwork so that you're centered. So that when these things come up, they don't send you in a downspin. And that centering looks different for each one of us. If you're a person of faith, then it's center yourself in God. But you have to learn how to value yourself and to love yourself. And many of us don't do that. And part of what I was just been reading in Stephen Covey's book talks about finding your center. And he uses 4 words when he talks about that. And he talks about security, guidance, power, and wisdom. Those 4 going together. And a lot of times we have a center that's not one of those. It doesn't involve those. And all those 4 words, wisdom, power, security, and guidance, are all on a continuum. And you want them to develop before you reach those adverse things, to be as high as you can and integrated so that you can meet those adverse things with that in mind.
Good point. And yes, and I think you have to reach that centering, or maybe another word could be grounding. I think you have to reach that before you have all of those unexpected things happen. So it doesn't knock you off your balance when it does happen. And I love everybody's advice. I love it. So breathe, connect to your higher power, be ready, be grounded.
Yes.
All those things.
Yes.
Set tensions. Did I miss any? Yeah, do all those things. I love it. Thank you everyone for being with us today. This has been a lot of fun. I love getting to know everyone. It's kind of fun to have some hot topics and see how each of us kind of think about the different topics and get to know a little bit about each other. And so mark your calendars. We are always on the fourth Monday of every month at 12 noon on Connections Over Coffee. And we always bring some hot topics every month for us to discuss. And I appreciate everybody being with us today. We had Mike, he had to jump off, but he's texted me, so he wants to come on again in the future. So he had to be somewhere at 1 o'clock, so he had to jump off. And yeah, I see a couple others have jumped off already. So thank you for being with us. And you can reach me. I am going to put that over in the chat. It's kathybinner.com. And if you go to kathybinner.com, you will find the replays of all of our calls. You'll find all of my topics. You'll find the calendar of all of our events. And if you, and I have Ruth's event on my calendar. I have Debbie's event on my calendar. Any of you that are a part of the tribe, the Kathy Binner International Academy tribe, if you have anything going on, I'm happy to put it on my calendar, which goes out every Sunday in a newsletter to everyone that is connected. So if you're wanting to promote something, definitely be a member of the tribe and I'll help you promote it. So thank you so much for being with us, and we will see everyone next time.
Bye.
Have a good week.
Bye.